There were some typos in the agenda, but it is S79 and deals with the um, rental registry as well as code enforcement and probably VHIP as well at some point. I'm sure Sean would like to hear that. So, but news for the committee. Uh, as some of you know, we had a chairs meeting yesterday, and the pro tem asked us for our priorities before crossover. Crossover, it's still up in the air. If I had to guess, at this point, there was a split of decisions among the chairs as to whether we should extend crossover for another week beyond March 12th. I think that's for the substantive committees, March 19th, for the money committees. And I think it's going to be decided. I don't know if Allison has more information. I don't see.
This is the update. We're having a joint rules meeting at 3:45, so we will know by 4 o'clock what we've decided.
I push for another week. I think I'm going to be outvoted or overruled or whatever you want to call it. So we have 2.5. I'm working under the assumption we have 2.5 weeks. The 5 or 6 issues I set forward in my memo were project-based TIFs, extension of the sunset on UI, rate relief and enhanced benefits under UI, 79, the one we're talking about now, um, relocated workers, and I think, and then there's a bill that's being developed that deals with uh, modernization of zoning bylaws to improve the cost effectiveness or reduce the cost of building affordable housing. That probably will be ready for prime time on Friday. So there's a ton there. One conversation I had in the break, and then we also have to deal with budgetary issues and COVID 2, the bill that's trying to get money out the door quickly and give our opinions or add on to some of these bills, uh, one-time fundings.
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff. I talked to the vice chair at the break, and one of the release valves we might have is this particular bill because the House is working on a very similar bill. We sent this over to them last year. They failed to deliver it back to us. So I wanted to make sure we got it going again, but I'm hopeful that they can do more with it this year and get it to us. We'll have our hearing today, but I've asked Senator Clarkson to call Representative Stevens, and it's probably every witness on this call probably knows what the status of that bill is in the House, but we want to make sure that Representative Stevens hopes and plans to get to this before their crossover, and that will give us more time to work on this. So that's the status of things. We have 15 minutes. I sent you um, a memo from David Hall last night or this morning where he asked a couple of policy questions, and I'm going to ask Sean if he could pull that up on the screen. And I gave some preliminary answers to those questions myself, but obviously they are subject to committee discussion, and we'll use that time. We'll use this next 15 minutes to just go through this. Maybe David will join us, or maybe he won't. But that's the plan. I'll pause there for the vice chair to weigh in or anybody else to weigh in. But I think this would take a significant amount of time off our agenda for the next 2.5 weeks if we just let the House deal with this.
And forgive me, Senator, I do not have the questions that that David mentioned. I don't know if Nathan has them.
I'm hoping
Oh.
Nathan has them. I sent it out to the committee, so Nathan's part of our committee email chain. So I'm hoping he can pull it out, and all of you can review those questions that David Hall posed for us.
Yeah, it sent it last night at 12:19. You are amazing. And even I was in bed at 12:19, which is rare. And it says my quick first shot at your questions, and it brings up the questions and Michael's first stab at addressing them. But we could also find it under David Hall.
I could, Nathan, have you found that email that I sent to the committee last night?
I don't have that email.
Let me just see who you sent it to, Michael. You only sent it to David Hall and me. So let me forward it to everybody here.
Okay, sorry.
And I will send it to everybody. That'll take me 1 sec.
Yeah, and then I think, well,
so I'm going to send it right away to Nathan, and then Nathan can post it, I hope.
Well, let's hold off on posting it, but if you could send it to the people who are on the call now.
Okay.
Go ahead and post it. I mean, it's really it's not really well.
I meant put it up on the screen so we could.
Yeah.
I've given it to Nathan so he could put it up on the screen. That's what I meant. So he could share his screen.
That's what I prefer. It's basically at that point it's public information anyhow because it's on YouTube, but it's not like I spent a lot of time in my answers, so I may be a little bit embarrassed. But what else is new? So, and forgive me, I thought I did send it to the committee.
No, you just sent it to me and to David. And I'm just having a hard time with Sarah Carpenter. If I'm pulling up your email.
Well, why don't you just send it to Nathan? He could put it up on the screen.
Right.
It's up on the screen right now.
Thank you, Nathan. Sorry for this glitch. Okay, I'm looking for it on the screen. There we go. Okay. So I don't know, Nathan, how would I get control of the screen, or can you just do what?
I'll do whatever you ask.
Okay, just go down a little bit to the first question. So I don't think we need to add to our complications here. We can add to the responsibility for doing this without having to change a whole division's name at this point, but we may change that. And I'm sure these questions are being posted to the House as well. So that was my original take on that. Question number 2. Yeah, I mean, I think this is the heart of what we're doing, and we have to charge fire safety with these new duties and responsibilities. Let's go down.
Chair,
Yes.
can I just say that we have discussed this memo? Sarah and Michael and I discussed it. If that's helpful, do you want us to weigh in or not? I just, whatever you prefer.
No, actually, I would prefer that. These were just my first off-the-cuff responses to these questions, but you would have given it a little bit more time and thought. So that would be, I think, a very good use of our 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll adjourn. So I don't know if it's, who did you, Sarah and you discuss this?
Yes.
Why don't we have Sarah as chair of the commission go through these, and so you've seen this memo, okay?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that, but they more tended to affect fire safety, and I noticed Mike DeRoche's on the call, so I might actually ask him to take some stabs at it. We came out of the meeting, the three of us concurring, so, but since they mostly affect the fire safety end of it, maybe Michael wants to pipe in on some of these. And he
Well,
concurred, don't change the name. We've got that one down.
okay, so could you, Sarah, just, you and Michael tag team on this?
Sure.
You take the lead and Mike
Yep.
jump in right after, or anytime you want to defer to him, and we'll hopefully get through this list this morning.
Okay. And Wendy, actually, I mean, only because she and Michael really have spent the nitty gritty on the legal aspects of both the bill and the existing statute. They're more into this than I am. And I think on the second question, again, Wendy or Michael pop in. We did not believe that it necessarily, that it is covered in the statute, but Michael, do you want to opine upon that?
Yeah, good morning. For the record, I'm Mike DeRocha, the Director of Fire Safety. And so under 2729, under general provisions, 60–70% of the housing safety codes are already under the jurisdiction of fire safety in one way or the other. Some of the provisions are ones where we could probably promulgate rules to incorporate some of the checklist items. So for example, out of the 65 checklist items on a housing safety form, we're covering about 50 of them now through our existing jurisdiction. So we can promulgate rules to address this, or leave it up to the committee if they feel they want to give us a broader scoping.
Thank you. So I'm going to ask, because of the preliminary discussion we had about letting the House do the majority of the work up here, that you breeze through this stuff in 7 minutes. We're not going to make any decisions, just to give us a flavor of what your thoughts are, and we'll see you in April.
Well, I've already texted Tom to ask for a time to talk.
Okay. Let's go down, Nathan. We're looking for the yellow. There we go.
Michael can pop into this. We had quite a bit of discussion on this, but, and Mike can explain the process. It's important to understand that an accessory dwelling unit isn't really a building type, it's a zoning designation. You're either a single family or a duplex or a triplex. And so our thinking on this is, if a unit is rented, then it's covered by the code. So if you're renting a unit in your house and there's a complaint, fire safety would go in and inspect it. If the complaint relates to commonly shared infrastructure, like the roof is leaking or the electricity is between the two units is not right, then fire safety would have to inspect the other unit because it's affecting the rental unit. They do that now with a duplex. So I think it's our sense that you don't really need to call out duplexes. The unit with the complaint would be investigated, and if it's attached to an owner-occupied unit, they would investigate only if the complaint relates to the common shared systems, which is what they do now.
Okay.
So I don't know, Michael, if you want to explain that more, but
That's fine. That's the
Yeah.
conclusion I came to in my answer as well.
Okay.
Let's go down further. What is this one here?
go ahead, Mike.
I think I spoke to this item already in my very opening remarks. So we already have authority to as the highlighted yellow indicates, to cover 60-70% of the health and safety issues that are currently in the rental housing safety code that's administered by the health department. So the other 30 or 40%, you could either capture that in legislative language, or we can promulgate rules to capture these other 30-40% of items.
Good. Okay. Let's go down.
This program here is complaint driven. The amount of resources we would need in the budget that we propose is a complaint driven program. And that was based on the survey that the health department did with the health officers.
Good.
So
So far I'm batting 1,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Mr. Chair, you're doing pretty darn well here on your answers and Michael's answers. You two must have coordinated at 1 a.m.
Let's go to fees. I may,
there are no fees. So we're not, this is not going to be, to me, in fire safety, we're not going to be administer inspection fees to anybody
correct,
for doing this service. That's part of the registry.
correct. Got that too.
Yep.
Still
Yeah.
back 1,000. Okay, let's go to C.
Just in case you needed a couple
We
things
don't-
today.
We don't see any changes here. There's always the people, the landlords should have the legal right to request a variance. And in fact, there'd be a number of reasons why they would request a variance, and one would be granted. And it's just because the codes are very prescriptive, black and white. And this provides our inspectors some latitude to work with building owners without jeopardizing safety.
Sorry.
I don't want to have this answered now, but I just want to make sure I understand that vis-a-vis electrical inspections versus other kinds, because I just feel like it just sent me down a whole path and thinking in my brain of who would that's qualified to do electrical inspections versus other kinds of safety inspections.
This is already in fire safety, so we're talking about the health standards. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't be able to request a variance on electrical.
well, Mike can speak to that, but that's covered in a whole nother statute.
Correct.
So, sorry, can we just clarify this then?
We work within the realm of variances across all our disciplines for a number of reasons. And usually those decisions that are rendered are beneficial to both the landlord and the tenants, or the building owner and fire safety. So we call them trade-offs or equivalencies. There's plenty of equivalencies out there in building construction and stuff like this, where variances are absolutely appropriate.
Okay, so how do we deal with it here? His question is the authority relevant and appropriate to rental housing? Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
I don't see it any different than what happens now. So if fire
Right,
safety goes to now
Correct.
and there's an electrical issue or pick an issue, it's up to Mike's staff to mostly get it corrected, but occasionally give a variance. And on the health side, they would treat it similarly as they do their other disciplines. And they, as I understand it, they already have the authority to do that.
Correct.
Okay,
I'll give you an example. You have an exterior stair and the tread's off by ½ an inch. You're not gonna make this owner spend $45,000 to reconstruct a 3-story exterior stair that is perfectly structurally sound. You may have that individual apply for a variance, and maybe we would require an additional handrail on the stair versus making them spend $45,000 or
Got it.
additional lighting or something.
thank
Just as an
you.
example. Yep.
Mr. Chair, I have for a press conference. I apologize. I put it in the chat and you're on mute.
Okay, thank you for sticking in there. We'll see you later in the day. Thank you. Let's go to 2733. Sarah?
I believe again that that's authority that exists if they were having to remove a structure. So I think just sort of a sidebar in the scope of this, if a building's got to come down, it would be rare that it was only the health code that was causing that. I mean, it's usually structural and fire safety and electrical. So it's important to remember we're adding in a lot of health and safety and sanitation rules to their inspections. But if you're taking down a building, you're taking it down because it's probably structurally unsound.
Right.
And they already have the authority to do it.
Yeah, well, we're not focused here primarily on removal. We're talking
No.
about repair and rehabilitation, which I assume might apply to a health condition as well. That's all. It's
Yeah,
saying.
and I believe they have we've given them the authority to order a repair or a renovation.
Okay,
Right. We have that authority now.
okay, let's go down.
We have rules for administrative penalties. This is, this language here is just in the broad sense of the commissioner's authority. I've been with the division over 30 years and we've never resorted to this level of an administrative penalty. We have administrative rules in place that define what we can. So example, no smoker, CO alarm in an apartment unit or rental unit is $50. We're not going to fine somebody $10,000.
Right.
So we have administrative penalty rules already in place.
Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so all these questions, this gets a little maybe more complicated in terms.
Yeah, we may want to pick this up at this
Yeah,
whole
this
municipal.
gets into the continuing jurisdiction, I guess, of the health department and whether there's dual jurisdiction. It's probably a longer question. Can we just go down, Nathan, to other questions relating to the bill?
Senator, I just want to add, I mean, we are keeping the town health officers in force. The towns will have some authority, but the health officers have a lot of other details. And we want to make sure that the municipalities that already have programs continue to do them. So
Right.
we have thought about that. And I think the version, at least on the House side, will address what municipalities need to keep and what goes over to fire safety.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's a good stopping point. We'll be a little bit more ready, assuming the bill comes back. And I appreciate the time. You helped us get back on schedule. I want to try and honor the 11:30 as close as possible. So thank you all for being here. I know it wasn't all that you expected, but you're probably happy. It wasn't.
Senator,
Yes,
could I take a moment?
maybe.
I just want to say this is probably the last time I'll be in your committee on this issue. I think some of you know that I'm leaving the Affordable Housing Coalition after 24 years, going to work for our junior senator's office, still working on housing. So you may yet see me in committee, but probably not on this issue. And I just want to say thanks to the committee members for your work and your support for this issue. As I think some of you know, I've actually been working on this issue for over 20 years, since Howard Dean was governor and Tasha Wallace was the Commissioner of Labor and Industry, and they actually had jurisdiction over these issues. So I just want to encourage you. I understand the logistics around having the House go first, and I believe Representative Stevens just this morning mentioned in committee that they're going to be taking up the bill next week. So I'm encouraged by that. But when it comes back to you, which I hope it does, I just want to encourage you folks to, this hopefully will be the year that we finally get this passed. So thank you for all your time and your support on this and your good work.
Thank you. I think I speak for the entire committee. We really appreciate all your years of service. You've been a very credible, informative witness and resource, a go-to person for me, and I think you've always been upfront and straight with us. So I appreciate that, and we wish you the best and hope you'll be visiting us again frequently.
Yes.
I may be back to give you an update on the next COVID relief bill. Who knows?
Yes. And Erhard, we are going to miss your passionate advocacy on this and a number of other subjects. And
Thanks, Senator.
your percussive additions to State House Singers.
Well, unfortunately, the State House Choir, the singers are not meeting right now, but you can always invite me back. I won't be far.
Good luck. And our loss is Bernie's gain.
Thank you.
Thanks for your kind words.
Thank
Much
you.
appreciated.
Thank you.